Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Focus Mega News at 6 on MBN TV, coming to you live from our studios, 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate. First, the headlines.
In business, producer price inflation rises to 4.0% in July. Afenyomarkin's Gold Board criticism driven by political blackmail, Sammy Gyamfi. And on the international front, Zambia's Hichilema re-elected president as main rival in hiding over alleged threats.
My name is El Samuels. The news is also live across our social media handles on MBN 360. Details of these stories and also other stories coming up shortly. In our first major story, the Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Gold Board, Sammy Gyamfi, has accused the minority leader, Alexander Afenyomarkin, of pursuing a smear campaign against the institution rather than engaging in genuine public accountability.
According to Mr. Gyamfi, the Efutu MP continued criticism of Gold Board as part of what he described as an attempt to tarnish the institution's reputation through false claims and political blackmail. Mr. Afenyomarkin has raised concerns about the financial implications of Gold Board's operations, particularly losses associated with the Bank of Ghana's domestic gold purchase program. The concerns follow an International Monetary Fund assessment indicating that the program recorded losses of about $1.7 billion in 2025. Speaking during the Government Accountability Series on Wednesday, August 19, 2026, Mr. Gyamfi dismissed the criticisms, insisting that they were intended to discredit Gold Board rather than contribute to substantive public discussion.
I want to urge you, our friends in the media, in all humility and the Ghanaian public, to hold Afenyomarkin and others who make allegations about Gold Board losses to the strictest standard of proof, particularly in the light of the detailed facts I have placed before you today. Let me state that the persistent noise from people like him does not arise from any genuine quest for accountability or any sincere desire to interrogate the operations of the Gold Board. Rather, it is a part of a calculated smear campaign aimed at undermining the significant contribution Gold Board is making to the economic transformation agenda of President Mohammed's administration. The likes of Afenyomarkin simply cannot reconcile themselves with the transformational work of Gold Board because they appreciate the important role it has played in the historic appreciation of the Ghana cedi and the significant strengthening of Ghana's international reserves, developments that are contributing to improved economic conditions for the Ghanaian people. Afenyomarkin's continuing antics, and I want you to listen to me very carefully here. Afenyomarkin's continuing antics must therefore be seen for what they are: a desperate smear campaign by persons who have specialized in sophistry and political blackmail in pursuit of selfish ends. These are devious extortionists who will come at you with lies to tarnish your reputation in the hope that you will fold and settle for what they call, quote, compulsory arbitration and oil their palms. Well, this time around, they found their own target. The Ghanaian people deserve serious public discourse founded on facts, evidence, truth, and not endless recycling of falsehoods in the hope that repetition will lend them credibility and turn fiction to facts.
Now, moving away from that, the president of the Ghana Youth Federation, Sheriff Ghali, has revealed that nearly 2 million young Ghanaians between the ages of 15 and 35 are neither in education, employment, nor training, highlighting the scale of the youth employment crisis in the country.
Speaking at the National Youth Forum on Wednesday, August 19, Mr. Gali said youth unemployment remained significantly higher than the national average. According to him, youth unemployment currently stands at 21.9% compared with the national average of 12.8%, while the rate in the Greater Accra region is 31.9%. Mr. Gali said the statistics should not be treated merely as figures, but should be understood as representing young people facing real challenges in securing jobs and building sustainable livelihoods. He also cited the situation of young people who have completed apprenticeship programs but lack the resources to establish their own businesses. Mr. Gali further linked the recent rush by young people during the KFC promotion to the economic difficulties facing the youth. He argued that the incident should not simply be interpreted as reckless behavior, but rather prompt a broader conversation about the economic circumstances of young people. He subsequently called for stronger government interventions to address youth unemployment and create sustainable opportunities for young people.
Away from the youth unemployment situation, we go back to the Gold Board, where the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Gold Board, Sammy Gyamfi, has challenged the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, to invite him to Parliament to answer questions over claims that the institution incurred losses from its gold trading operations.
Mr. Gyamfi said he was ready to appear before Parliament at any time to demonstrate that claims linking Gold Board to losses under the Bank of Ghana's domestic gold purchase program were unfounded. Speaking during the government's accountability series on Wednesday, August 19, Mr. Gyamfi said he was eagerly awaiting an invitation from Parliament to address the allegations. He questioned why the minority leader continued to hold press conferences on the matter when Parliament's Public Accounts Committee could invite him to appear. Mr. Gyamfi also dismissed concerns that a parliamentary probe would require a special motion or approval from the Speaker, saying the Public Accounts Committee had the authority to invite him. He said he had already reached out to the new majority leader, James Agauga, and asked him to facilitate an invitation if the minority leader delayed. He maintained that he was prepared to account for Gold Board's operations and defend the institution against the allegations.
Even if Afenyo delays in extending this invitation, he should extend the invitation to me. And I'm ready to come tomorrow. You don't need any special motion. You don't need any special order by the Speaker. Just get Public Accounts Committee to invite us and come and sit down there and come and demonstrate to the whole nation where the Gold Board made losses or how the Gold Board is to blame for losses made by another institution. We are waiting for that. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I want to urge you, our friends in the media, in all humility and the Ghanaian public, to hold Afenyo-Markin and others who make allegations about Gold Board losses to the strictest standard of proof, particularly in the light of the detailed facts I have placed before you today. Let me state that the persistent noise from people like him does not arise from any genuine quest for accountability or any sincere desire to interrogate the operations of the Gold Board. Rather, it is a part of a calculated smear campaign aimed at undermining the significant contribution Gold Board is making to the economic transformation agenda of President Mohammed's administration. The likes of Afenyo-Markin simply cannot reconcile themselves with the transformational work of Gold Board because they appreciate the important role it has played in the historic appreciation of the Ghana cedi and the significant strengthening of Ghana's international reserves.
And that's it for the major story. You're still live on the Mega News on MBN TV. Coming up, we cross over, we'll bring you the business stories. Ghana's producer price inflation rose to 4% year-on-year in July 2026, up from 3.5% in June, driven largely by higher gold prices and continued increases in utility costs.
Data from the Ghana Statistical Service show that producer prices increased by 2.0% month-on-month in July, reversing a 3.7% decline recorded in June. The producer price index rose to 272.6 in July, from 267.4 in June and 262.2 in July 2025. Government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu attributed the rise in producer price inflation partly to higher global gold prices, which pushed up costs in the mining and quarrying sector. The sector's month-on-month inflation increased by 12.4 percentage points, lifting its annual inflation rate from 2.6% to 3.5%. Mining and quarrying carries the largest weight in Ghana's producer price index at 43.7%. Within the sector, crude oil and natural gas extraction recorded annual inflation of 12.2%, while metal ore mining recorded a 2.3% contraction. Utility costs also remain elevated. Electricity and gas recorded the highest annual inflation rate among the subsectors at 13.3%, followed by water supply and waste management at 10.1%. Manufacturing inflation rose to 3.7% year-on-year, with fabricated metal products recording a 25.9% increase and leather products rising by 17.4%. However, prices of non-metallic mineral products declined by 2.3%. Service sector inflation remained relatively moderate at 2.5%, although some subsectors recorded sharp increases. Motion picture production recorded inflation of 87.9%, while land transport rose by 23.4%. Telecommunications prices remained unchanged, recording 0.0% inflation. Although producer price inflation remains well below the high levels recorded in previous years, the sharp monthly increase points to renewed upstream cost pressures that could feed through to consumer prices if sustained. The GSS have advised households to plan for continued pressure from utility and transport costs, while businesses could consider longer-term input contracts to manage the risk of further increases in production costs.
And that's it from the business desk. We're crossing over to the foreign front. You're still listening to the MEG News at 6 on NBN TV. The Zambian President Mokane Hichilema has been re-elected for a second 5-year term after securing 60% share of the vote, the Electoral Commission has announced.
Hichilema's win was widely expected, with his closest challenger Brian Mundubili getting 38% of the votes cast. The remaining 12 candidates trailed far behind. The results came after a contested process, with 55-year-old Mundubili earlier claiming victory and alleging, without providing evidence, voting irregularities. His party, the NRPUP, told the BBC that Mundubili was in a secure location under the protection of an international human rights body due to threats made against him. Local media reported that Mundubili and his running mate Makebi Zulu had gone into self-imposed exile at a UN agency in the capital Lusaka, fearing arrest. It came after some leading opposition figures were arrested in a raid on Friday, August 14, 2026, who the authority accused of plotting an insurrection. Mundubili called the claim a fabrication. In a statement after being declared the winner, Hichilema, 64, said, "We are truly humbled by the trust you have placed in our hands." He said the election showed that Zambia was a place of peace, law and order, and a democratic nation that settles our differences at the ballot box and nowhere else. To those citizens who preferred the ideas presented by our opponents, we hear you and we will continue to work for you, he added. Hundreds of Hichilema's supporters, dressed in the red colors of his United Party for National Development, UPND, flooded the streets of the capital to celebrate after the results declaration. Zambia has a record of peaceful transfers of power since the return of multi-party democracy in 1991. Presidential transitions have occurred through the ballot box. It is unclear if the opposition will challenge the election result. Mundubile had earlier alleged there had been discrepancies between polling station results and those officially announced and claimed military involvement at tallying centers. On Monday, August 17, 2026, Mundubile described Friday's raid by armed personnel at his home in Lusaka, saying they had knocked down the gate with an armored vehicle, broke doors and windows and opened fire. He denied allegations that high-grade military weapons were being stored at his home, as well as the presence of any militia, as the authorities had alleged.
And that's it for this morning's Mega News 6 live and direct from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate, Noah Adogono. We take a second look at the stories making headlines.
In business, producer price inflation rises to 4.0% in July. Afenyomakin's Gold Board criticism driven by political blackmail, Sammy Gyamfi. And on the international front, Zambia's Hichilema re-elected president as main rival in hiding over alleged threats.
Thank you for staying with us. For more news, log on to MBN 360. My name is El Samuels. Up next is a sports update. Good morning.